Hello, Indianapolis, and welcome to another great and fun episode of In the Loop. We've all had a pretty great week. I went to Bee's Po' Boy and played bocce ball and ate some delicious sandwiches.
Speaking of delicious food, I had amazing Thai food. 5-star restaurant Thai food with jazz.
Ooh, did you have some pad Thai? I love pad Thai.
I did have some kind of drunken pad Thai noodle thing going on.
I like that it's drunken, that you just slide that in there.
Yeah.
Like, I had drunken
know.
food. I can't wait to find out what that's all about.
You know what though? I spoke to the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and we just chit-chatted about the future of racing in Indiana.
And I'm going to be taking you here at the IMS, showing you the track. Indianapolis, are you ready to be in the loop?
In the Loop TV show closed captioning sponsored by Alley Cat Lounge and Alley Cat Front Room. Distinctively different with the same staff you've always loved.
So guys, guess what I did today?
What?
I put up my 500 flare outside of my garden.
What?
Gotta represent to the neighbors.
Such a
your
good
magic
indie girl.
I know.
Race fan.
Well, you were setting up your decor. I got to actually go to the track itself and check out all the events. Got to meet some drivers. Here's some really cool stories. It was a good time. You told me something very unique about how social media is playing a factor in racing.
So what happens with Indy fans tweet ups is it's kind of putting a face to the handle is kind of how we term it. And the drivers, they pilot the cars. The fans, they pilot the series and the success of it. That's the way we look at it. So we want to make sure they know how appreciated they are. And so we give them the opportunity to come out, meet some drivers, ask questions. We always have fun stuff to give away if you ask a question at the tweet up.
James is a USF driver who's only been doing it for 4 years, which is not a lot of time, but he had some fantastic advice about what makes for a very good driver.
There's always so much to learn in a car. If a driver ever thinks that you know that you're at that perfect level, you're doomed to fail. You will never be that good. Each time you're in the car, there's always something to learn. There's always something more you can do to push yourself, to push the car. It's just that fine balance, right? So that's, for me, I love the challenge of it because every race is different. Every time you're on track is different because you could have a good set of tires, you could have a bad set, you could have a good setup that works or a struggle with your car. Track temperature, there's so many different variables that play into it. And then you have the other competitors. You could have an unbelievable race and have some guy just plow into you and take you out.
I was able to chat with Pippa Mann, one of the most well-known female race car drivers, and she is using that fame for a very good cause.
I'm running in a pink car supporting Susan G. Komen at this year's Indianapolis 500, so wonderful program to be a part of, and something completely separate to breast cancer is I love how this car appeals to little girls too.
And I noticed that a moment ago, there were tons of people flocked around you for a tweet up, you were talking, and kids of all ages interacting with you. What's it like to kind of talk to those young kids about racing?
It's really awesome. I love bringing new fans to the sport. And one of the really cool things we're actually doing this year around the pink car is we have a website set up. There's something where people in Indianapolis can actually come race me in a go-kart at Fast Times Karting.
What?
Yes, you get to
gosh.
race me at Fast Times Karting here in Indy. I think off the top of my head, it's $38 to come race me at Fast Times. So go to pippaman.com/get involved, click on the Race with Pippa package, and you get to come race me at Fast Times. There's still spaces left on that one, but
I am so stoked to watch you on the 500, and hopefully I'm going to get to race you on the racetrack.
that'd be awesome. I'll be looking for you.
Yes! What brings you to Indy today?
Actually here promoting the P&G Gymnastics Championships. They'll be here in August in Indy, so.
That's super cool. Now,
Yeah.
you obviously had a very successful career and still do in gymnastics. What are you doing now?
A little bit of everything. I do a lot of public speaking. I kind of run an online company that I started. It's called the Body Department, and then working with Nike and coaching, just a ton of stuff.
That's cool. Obviously, you're a very recognizable face. We have tons of people right now that immediately saw you like, oh my gosh, it's Shawn Johnson.
And most people, you know, the 500 is more than just racing. It's bigger than that. It's this big, iconic, you know, event. And so we're lucky, you know, for a Midwestern, you know, second-tier market to have the world's largest sporting event. It's awesome.
There's an event coming up with the IPS. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so for, I can't remember how many years exactly, but we've always hosted Community Day. And Community Day was built as just another day to open up the facility for fans and children and families who are coming in for race weekend to come out and kind of treat the facility like an open house. And so we decided to change a little bit of what the meaning of that event is. We're still allowing people to come out to the racetrack to drive their own vehicles around and kind of enjoy that experience. But we decided, you know, let's take the Indy 500 to the community, and let's find a way to take the 33 starters of the Indianapolis 500 and do something impactful. So we thankfully aligned ourselves with IPS, the Indianapolis Public School System, and they do this massive field day. 7,000 schools, over 35 participating, or 7,000 students.
Students from all the schools, yeah.
Ooh, from all the schools, about 35 participating schools, and it's great. We're going to take our athletes to field day, and we're going to positively impact a bunch of youth. And it's going to be great, and so we're really excited about that shift and change and how we treat Community Day.
Well, I am personally stoked to see all the races this year in the month of May. So thank you so much, Jarrod. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out.
The track has been bustling all month, and we still have one more week left of fun events down at the IMS.
500 weekend is coming up. It's going to be super exciting. And if you don't know about some of the traditions, they have that pin distribution thing. If you've ever been in Disney World, you can trade and collect pins. The IMS does that. They're collector's items. Check it out.
Well, don't forget Carb Day.
Carb Day.
Oh, about 50 of my friends meet up for Carb Day, and we get real weird. And then then there's Jane's Addiction. Jade said. I mean, that's a classic 90s child right here. Right in the stink pit. I mean, that's
so
a
much
wild
fun.
time. Yeah.
Not to mention all the great vintage cars that are down at the track. I mean, if you are a car enthusiast at all, like I am, I love American vintage. You can go see every type of car and then do the Indy racing experience, which means you can hop in the seat of an Indy car and zoom yourself down the track pretending to be your favorite driver.
Let's not forget about the main event, okay? There's qualifications, there's practice, there's the Indy Lights, Freedom 100, and also the 500, okay?
The big enchilada.
Are you ready for it?
It happens to be the 99th running of the Indianapolis 500 this year, so one more year to go until the big kahuna.
Oh, I bet they're going to play in something really cool. Wow, so many things have changed since I was a kid at the track. Like the concerts, so many concerts.
So many more concerts.
I love that.
There's a lot of changes going on. I was able to speak with the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Boles, and he showed me just what he had planned for the future of the Motor Speedway. You've been a lifelong race fan, haven't you?
I have been a lifelong race fan. I can't think of anything else that I've wanted to do or be around other than motorsports since as far back as I can remember. My mom has a photo of me at 10 months old in my diaper on my knees with a big IndyCar rolling it across the floor, and it's a little black and white photo that I keep in my house, and I still have the car actually that I use. So it's really all I know, and all my memories go back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500.
What do you really look forward to? What's your favorite part about the job?
Well, my favorite part about the job is sort of my favorite part about the year, which is that 15 minutes right before the command to start engines. It's like Christmas Eve when you go to bed and you see the presents that you get to open the next morning. And then once the green flag drops for me, that's sort of Christmas Day. You enjoy it, and it's a day you really like, but that anticipation and excitement of those 15 minutes leading up to the command. So it's back home again in Indiana. It's the singing of the national anthem. It's all those things that make you really proud to be a Hoosier and make you really understand that the tradition and the roots that are laid here over the last 106 years at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway all comes out in those 15 minutes.
That's what I was wondering about too. What are your favorite 500 traditions? Do you have any?
Well, Absolutely. So my favorite 500 tradition, without a doubt, is the singing Back Home Again in Indiana. And this year we're going to do it without Jim Neighbors. And I try and remind people that Jim Neighbors wasn't the tradition. The tradition is the singing of the song. And then our fans ultimately made Jim Neighbors that tradition. But that minute and a half to me is the absolute best thing about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It just because everybody, whether you're from Indiana or not, whether you're sitting here in the venue or you're watching it at home, for those few seconds, everybody in the world's a Hoosier, and you're just really proud to be a Hoosier. And then I think the command is awesome, and then the start of the race, watching 33 cars roll into turn one, is one of those favorite traditions of mine. And some starts are better than others, and they're strung out a lot. I like them when they're bunched up and they go through turn one. But those are probably the two things that really drive me all year long. It's the singing of Back Home Again in Indiana when you know you're just about to start the Indianapolis 500, and then those few seconds as those 33 men and women race into turn one.
And speaking of family and traditions, you have a family member in the race this year, don't you?
Yeah, this will be the second year. Connor Daly is my stepson, and he ran in 2013. He didn't run in 2014, but he's going to run again here in 2015. And that it makes things interesting around our house. So my wife worries a lot about it. She's here every day, and she's got customers and clients. She has a little business that she does here as well. But just trying to keep her calm and keep her focused on what she's doing, and then just trying to support Connor wherever we can. I mean, Connor grew up. His dad raced here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He grew up in the paddock with me, driving around motorhomes to all the IndyCar races. So this is sort of where he belongs, and it feels like family to him. But for the start, it'll certainly be a moment that I'm nervous about. In 2013, we had issues with our gate. We backed up the gates, and some of our fans stood for 45 minutes to an hour. So unfortunately, all I really got to do that race was to walk down and give Connor a thumbs up as he was strapped in the car. And then I literally watched him get through the first two corners and never watched another lap the rest of that race. So I'm going to try and take a few more minutes this year and pay attention pre-race and then as the race goes on to see how Connor's doing.
The 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 next year. Can you tell us anything about that?
You know, that's the 100th running of the Indy 500 is going to be just a really big moment in our history. We've celebrated the 100th anniversary of the track being built when it was built in 1909, and the 100th anniversary of the 500. The first one was in 1911. But because we didn't run during World War I and we didn't run during World War II, those hundreds didn't match up. So it's allowed us sort of to celebrate 3 hundreds, 3 centennials. But next year, to me, is going to be the most important one. So this year's the 99th running of the Indy 500. Big year to begin with. But the 100th is going to be really special. So we're going to have a lot of things that we're going to do a little bit differently. We're going to try and make this, elevate the excitement around the Indy 500 and the celebration. We're going to add some new things to the facility, some new seating, a lot of things that our fans will see that will be different when they come here. So that'll be great as well. But the entire month is just going to be a celebration of our history, but also sort of a celebration of what's to come. The Indianapolis 500 has always kind of grown with each decade and each year that it's run. And so we want to celebrate the history because the history is what makes the Indy 500 special. Without the history, we're just another racetrack and just another race. But the history is what sets us apart. But we have to remember that we need to continue to think about what's the future of the Indy 500. So this isn't just a look back and celebrate point. This is a launching pad to going forward for the next 100 years. So I think it'll be great. Our fans can't wait. We can't wait. As soon as the checker flag falls on the 99th, we're going to start focusing on the 100th. I think it'll be a special year for everyone.
I cannot wait to see how it turns out. Now, what would you say to anyone who's not really familiar with racing but has come to the Indy 500? What should they know?
Well, I think the thing about the Indy 500 that's special is the race takes place on the track, but it's so much bigger than that. It's an event, and so the 300,000 people that are here, many of them aren't really race fans, right? They are Indy 500 event fans. It's something that they do every year. It's kind of a tradition that they have, and even if you're not a race fan and have never been, when you come here, just the size of the place is impressive. The number of people that are here is impressive. The electricity that you feel on race morning, whether you're a race fan or not, you can't ignore it. It's amazing. When Kurt Busch ran here last year in the Indy 500, on the night of the victory banquet, I had an opportunity to talk with him. He said, I've never experienced anything like that. That electricity that you feel leading up to strapping into the car and the race starting. Even a fan who's not a race fan, even an attendee who's never been here before will feel that, and it's something you never forget.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Well, happy to be here. It's you can count. I love this brand. I love the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I love the Indy 500, and I love our fans. Our fans are what make this special, and our fans are so passionate about it. You know, it's just it's a blessing to be here to sort of represent them, and every day we're looking through that lens of how do we make that fan experience better, and we're gonna continue to try and do that as long as I'm around.
You do a fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
We're happy to have you. We're looking forward to the 99th running of the Indianapolis 500.
That was really neat that you got to sit down with the president of the Motor Speedway and talk to him about everything racing.
I was really excited. It was a pleasure to speak with him, and I am so excited about the future of the Speedway.
I saw him at the track, and he was a celebrity. People knew who he was. They wanted to take pictures with him. It was really cool.
Do you think the president of the Motor Speedway likes pad thai?
That's a great question.
Because I have pad thai on the brain. I went to the Bangkok restaurant and jazz bar this past week, and I've been craving it ever since. 5-star chef, are you kidding me? Not a lot of 5-star chefs running around.
True.
It was amazing. I got a chance to look at some of these beautiful dishes. Tell me a little bit about your food and the passion you put into it.
I try to create this menu because when you got a hot pan, when you put the meat on, well, you got smoke and flavor and smell is so good.
Oh yeah, when I came in, I was just hit with all these beautiful smells. I was just like, oh. And they also have a buffet during the week, Monday through Friday, and it's a beautiful setup. Tell me a little bit about the buffet. Does it change often?
Yep, not only Thai food on the buffet line. I try to get like Chinese, Japanese. Maybe sometimes I will put the Western food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you like to switch it up and do different cultures, so it's not Thai food all the time.
Yeah.
So you like to experiment with different flavors.
But right now I try to create the dessert. I mean the Thai dessert and even the chocolate brownie chip, whatever.
Now I saw a picture of a pineapple.
That we call the pineapple fried rice. In my country, they bake the whole apple.
So it's a very traditional Thai dish. I think more restaurants should come out and do some things instead of just slapping the food on there. I mean, yeah, you really appreciate what you're eating. Just like this cocktail. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
Everybody likes an umbrella.
Like if you do like a pineapple fried rice, you just put in the plate. That's just normal.
Yeah.
Not do like a.
I'm gonna add a little pizzazz to that, like the jazz. It's a very pizzazzy, jazzy place. I also saw a beautiful salmon dish. Tell me what you do to that to make it extra special.
Come with the steamed broccoli and carrot. Yeah, and we top with the pineapple chutney. But the chutney sauce is tastes almost sweet, with sour and some spicy.
Yeah.
But I mean like some more flavor. You just cook and move into the curry, right? Like it looks nice when the people saw, wow, what that?
Everything I saw was wow to me.
Yeah, we try to do that because we need to make all the customers they happy and they come back.
So if you want to go to a place that has a buffet that has a specialty every week, so you don't get bored with the same stuff, he mixes it up with all kinds of different flair, Japanese, Chinese, little American, and make it your own kind of flavor.
Right.
And a 5-star chef from Thailand, I mean, that is so cool. That is no easy feat, no sir. His passion for food is very apparent. I love that he gets to play with dishes and really bring out his personality. I mean, a 5-star chef from Thailand. It's amazing. The restaurant is filled with jazz music. It's not too loud. It's just very calming and very chic. It's a great experience overall.
Jade, that looks like a great place for lunch.
Yeah, he switches up the food every week to keep everybody guessing so it's not the same thing all the time, which I think that's cool.
That's a great idea. And what about half-price wines, right?
I mean, everybody likes half-price wines, right?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I like the pineapple. I think it's really neat when people keep their traditions and they try and bring that into the restaurant. I thought that was a really cool part of the segment.
It was beautifully presented.
Coming up after the break, Kaylyn enjoys some delicious beignets and po' boy sandwiches.
One of our favorite restaurants that we like to frequent together is South of Chicago Pizza and Beef. And just a stone's throw away is Bee's Po' Boy. And if you want to talk about some good New Orleans sandwiches, let's talk about Bee's Po' Boy.
If you've ever been to New Orleans, gone to a poor boy shop or asked the man on the street what makes a good poor boy, they'll all tell you the same thing. It's all about the bread. And we got the bread.
We get our bread from Leidenheimer Baking Company in New Orleans. We get it shipped in frozen and then we bake it off fresh to order.
The restaurant carries 11 po' boys.
Pulled pork, po' boys, my favorite, with the coleslaw.
I always get the barbecue shrimp po' boy, and the bread is perfect. It's that crunchy type of French bread that makes the po' boy what it is.
Bee's Po' Boy also has other traditional New Orleans fare.
We also do red beans and rice, gumbo, crawfish etouffee.
For dessert, we feature beignets, which is a classic New Orleans tradition. Café du Monde sells them. We have our own version. We serve them with raspberry sauce or chocolate sauce. They're delicious.
And there are many beverages to choose from.
We feature beers and wine. The beers we try to be as local as we possibly can.
The building and decor brings the traditional feel of New Orleans to the Circle City.
They are very unassuming buildings, almost like shacks. So we kind of went with the shacky look.
Today we had gumbo, which was awesome. It was very flavorful and it had this kick after you take a bite of it, so it was very delicious. And we also had a barbecue shrimp po' boy, which was awesome. The bread was amazing, so that's what made it. And then French fries and of course beignets.
I've been to New Orleans a couple times, and you know, when you get spoiled by a po' boy down there, there's no comparison. So when they opened up here, we just had to try the place out.
What's your favorite thing on the menu?
Oh, the shrimp po' boy.
Why?
Out of this world. The shrimp is just spiced perfectly, and then he's got this homemade hot sauce, which is just killer. A little bit of habanero. And
what makes it so special is that it's crispy on the outside, but it's not so crispy that it tears up your mouth eating it, and it's light and fluffy on the inside, and it just is delicious.
That's what everybody keeps saying. There's that crispiness to it, and it's not doughy, it's fluffy. And I think that that does make it really special, because I just had one of the sandwiches, and it was delicious.
Oh, good.
So it was really good. Stepping a little bit away from the food now, a lot of people may not know this, but you guys do have bocce ball courts right outside. Has that become pretty popular for you?
Oh, it's great in the summer. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great pastime to have a pitcher of beer or a bottle of wine and throw some bocce balls around.
If you've never been to New Orleans, you can come here and get the New Orleans experience without the plane flight.
Wasn't Bee's Po' Boy so much fun? Because I loved it. I love being there. I love the owners. They're all about the family business, which is why they're bringing the bread in every day from New Orleans. So authentic. And if you love the Bee's Po' Boy in Fountain Square, then I know you're going to love it at the new Coal Factory in Irvington that's coming soon.
I hope they keep the bocce ball there because my family's a big bocce ball family and we like to get our bocce on.
I hope they keep the alligator there because I'm a big fan of alligator and I know you are too.
Yes, I keep eating alligator in almost every segment. I feel like I do with the
You do?
Indie
This is
Visitors
true. You
channel
really
and
do.
In the Loop. I'm so lucky. I'm so exotic with all my alligator eating.
It's an American delicacy, all right?
That's right.
Alligator.
Coming up after the break, we enjoy some delicacies of our own from our friends at Rocket Fizz. I was feeling in the racing spirit and I stopped by our good friends at Rocket Fizz and picked up these Astro Pops. Here's why. Little known fact, these came out in the 1960s during the big space race, which is why I got them, because it's the racing month of May.
Oh, aren't you so clever?
And they remind me of my childhood.
If you missed any of tonight's episode or past episodes, you could go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, or you could go to indyintheloop.com.
You can see more behind the scenes footage and episodes on our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thanks for watching Indianapolis. We'll see you next Sunday night on Wish TV 8 at 11:30, right after the news on In the Loop.